Everybody has to take some approach to truth, and you and I will take one of these two approaches. Historically, there's what I would call the big T truth approach. Truth is absolute. Truth is knowable. Truth is true in any culture, in any time, in any nation. Why? Because Jesus is truth, because God is truth, and God is everywhere, in every time, and God is knowable in every culture. There's the other approach to truth, which is what we call little t plural, truths approach to life. Truth can't be known, this says. Truth is relative. You have my truth, I have my truth, you have your truth. When Oprah Winfrey was accepting her Lifetime Achievement Award at the Golden Globes a couple of years ago, she said, "What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we have." Those two words, your truth, have really become the popular approach these days. You have your truth, I have my truth. Nobody really knows or can know the truth. And so we come to this passage here in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, where I think chapter 13, where the Apostle Paul, I think, is saying, if you're a follower of Jesus Christ, you're a big T truth person. If you're going to be that big T truth person, what's it look like? And the first thing he says is big T truth people are committed to the truth, and so they understand that truth is worth examining. 2 Corinthians 13:1, Paul says, "This is the third time I'm coming to you. Every matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses." Paul says, I'm coming back. I'm going to take on the difficult things I need to take on. But don't worry, I'm not going to listen to hearsay. I'm not going to listen to rumors. I'm not going to listen to feelings or make snap judgments. I'm going to listen to firsthand witnesses and examine the facts. Truth matters. Every Jewish person would have recognized that Paul was just repeating a principle that was taught in the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 19:15 says, "One witness cannot establish any iniquity or sin against a person. A fact must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses." People who don't take truth seriously will make flippant accusations, and they'll believe surface accusations without evidence. How is it that the news can print that Israel has bombed a hospital in Gaza that's killed 500 people when it's not true? Well, it's because the press wants it to be true. And so they flippantly report testimony of basically one group, one person. Only realize they have egg on their face later. 1 Timothy 5:19, Paul says, "Don't accept an accusation against an elder unless it's supported by 2 or 3 witnesses." By the way, one of the reasons that we can trust the Bible, what it says about Jesus, is that we don't have one witness. It's not like the Quran or the Book of Mormon. We have 4, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who are like witnesses in a courtroom, giving testimony that is accurate, although they're not just repeating each other verbatim. But human nature has such a confirmation bias. So we have to investigate carefully what is true. That's what we do when things matter, isn't it? I remember years ago, some of you who were around remember, we were meeting at Stone Middle School, and a woman comes storming in the entrance area, clearly not happy about something, and the people who greet her say, "Ma'am, can we help you?" She said, "Yes." She said, "The last 4 or 5 weeks, my daughter has left every Sunday morning, and she says she's coming here, and I'm coming to check out her story." And sure enough, she checked out her story, and she was there. She was a friend, by the way, of Andrea Spray. And the mom stayed, and eventually she gave her life to Christ and was baptized. That's a wonderful story, but why did she do that? Because she really didn't believe her daughter, but she wanted to check out. That's what you do when truth matters. You check it out. That means we ought to examine the truth about faith and religions. Are all religions basically the same? Or are religions really at the core very superficially the same? At the core, very different. Should we just accept what science says without examination? You ever think about all the mistakes that science has made through history? You know, the Earth is the center of the solar system. You don't need to wash your hands before doing a medical procedure. In the 1940s, 60% of doctors smoked. There was a time when school children were actually told to smoke cigarettes because it was believed that it was a disinfectant. In the 1950s, heroin was regularly prescribed as a remedy for the common cold. There have been times in history when Schedule I drugs with no use today, but highly addictive, were used to treat things like colds in children. Somebody's observed, the earth is not merely a cemetery of people that once were, it's also a cemetery of ideas and beliefs that were once held true, but are no longer. We need to examine the truth. We need to examine the truth that is taught in education and fed by the media. Paul says, don't trust the rumors, investigate. Marvin Alansky, a Christian, one-time journalism professor at the University of Texas, wrote, powerful groups with anti-Christian worldviews dominate major media and major educational institutions. Christians need to know how secular journalists perceive their work and be able to point to examples how some are covering up and manipulating news. Many journalists see themselves as altruists, doling out positive publicity that causes to those causes they think are worthy. And sometimes it's really subtle. It's the choice of words, but it just manipulates. You know, this person is for women's health care. This person is against women choosing. Really, that's a lie from hell, that kind of deception. Former Washington Post ombudsman Patrick Pexton wrote, many journalists have a hard time giving much voice to those opposed to gay marriage. That's why we need to be like the Bereans, who in Acts 17:11 said they were of more noble character than those in Thessalonica because they received the word with eagerness and examined the scripture daily to see if these things were so. Listen, most people don't have the time or take the time to peel back all the layers to get to core principles. Most people, as a result, and we do this most of the time, most of us do, we think in terms of narrative and emotion, or what's popular. Christians are called to the truth. We are big truth people. Sanctify them by the truth, Jesus said. Your word is truth.